Hi Carey, this is Jared. I live in Gold Coast, Australia, and I'd just like to say thank you for helping me build my first PC. The reasons why I needed a more powerful PC was the fact is that I do a lot of drone flying. This is my other hobby. And because I use a lot of GoPro footage, my laptop just wasn't cutting it anymore. I'd have huge problems with the GoPro software actually stalling, and then I'd be back at square one. It became very frustrating for me. So when I started looking for more powerful PCs, I found that the marketplace just wasn't adequate for my needs. And that only left me with one alternative, and that was to build my own. Even though I could, I have a little bit of knowledge in electronics, drones and PCs are two different kettles of fish altogether. Anyway, I watched your videos on how to build a PC, namely the one with the 450D, and I watched it over the course of 3 months over and over and over again, because I'm one of those people that needs to learn by seeing. So that's why I decided in the end that, hey, I could do this. I could build a PC. So thanks again for giving me the confidence on building my own PC. You can actually see my PC over there operating in the corner of the screen. I'll take you over there after I explain a few things about the parts that I chose, or the components that I chose. I'll just put the drone away. I decided to upgrade from your favourite box, the 450D by Corsair, to the Half X. It's a full tower case, but after reading all the reviews on it and being one of the most popular cases to buy, I decided to, I'll go with the Half X now, because it was my first PC build and there was a lot of room inside it, and basically I could fit anything inside this case. So it leaves me open to future-proofing. The next part I decided to buy, because I'm not a rich man, so I bought these parts one at a time over the course of a year. So every month or every couple of weeks I would go out and I'd buy another component. The next part I bought was the Coolermaster HyperX 212X heatsink for the processor. This was actually one of the cheapest parts here. The reason why I decided to go with air-cooled rather than water-cooled, because that seems to be the fad these days, is basically there wasn't going to be much difference in temperature. Most of the tests said that this one can compete with a water-cooled one, and at this point I just don't feel comfortable in putting a radiator inside my case. The next component I decided to buy was the power supply. I found choosing a power supply actually more confusing than choosing the motherboard. The MSI Z270 Gaming M5 is one I went with. Going back to the Coolermaster, the power supply, there seems to be a lot of confusion about power supplies, but after watching your video on don't overcharge your PC, with too big a power supply, and found it was going to be just as efficient working with a 750 watt than it would be working with a 1000 watt power supply. And after I did the Coolermaster power supply calculator, I found that on 200 watts, I got 200 watts headspace in power consumption of my PC. The next component I decided on buying was, of course, one of the main components was the motherboard. Originally I had my heart set on the Z170 motherboard, made by MSI, mainly because I really like aesthetic looks, and I wasn't really understanding how important the motherboard was at that time. Basically everything hooks into your motherboard, making it one of the most vital pieces, so you don't want to mess up in choosing your motherboard. I was going to get the Z170, but then I thought, well, it's not that much price between the Z270 and the 170, and everyone seems to be moving to the 270s now. I know there's even another one available. So I went to buy the Z270, and I'm really happy with it. It's not got a lot of bling bling on it, but I didn't want a lot of bling bling, even though I love the LEDs. The next part I decided to buy was to make my computer Wi-Fi capable. Even though I use a landline, I just wanted the option to have Wi-Fi in case, because I live next to some Telstra Air points, so if the internet goes down here, I can actually use Telstra Air, because where I live there's actually a phone box that has Telstra Air over there. And this one here was recommended as you could actually get up to 2 kilometers. It might be a bit overkill, but it's there if I need it. The next part I went and bought was the, let's have a look, was the processor. Now I went with the Carey 1151 socket with the Core i7 mainly because it's not just going to be a gaming machine, it's primarily a video editing machine. And from my simple understanding from watching videos, it's all about lane waves. And so I didn't want to get choked up using an i5. Although now I think maybe I could have got away with an i5, but anyway, I went to the i7 Intel processor, and I'm really happy I went with that choice. The next part I went and picked was the monitor. I didn't understand how monitors worked, and it's all about megahertz, and megahertz transfers into frame rates. And I've had experiences with dropping frame rates before, so I suppose that's probably why I decided just to invest in a really, really top quality monitor. I went with the VOG monitor here, this big box here. It has a 144 megahertz monitor, which means you can go up to 144 frames per second. It has a 1 millisecond refresh rate, and you can't get any faster than that, because I've had screen tearing before, and it's a damn nuisance. So that's why I went with that. Also, because I use a GoPro and I have a lot of cameras and stuff like that, I found it really a bit of a hassle. I had to pull cards out, put them into USB adapters, and then you go on scurrying around your drawer trying to find the right USB adapter for all the slots. Some of them are minis, some of them are micros, some of them are standard. So I went and invested in, I'll show you, one of these. And I don't know if you can see that, but it's actually got every SD card type of slot available, all in one unit, and it just slides into the front of your PC, although you might want to get like an adapter. They're really cheap on eBay. I bought one for about $4, come from China, and it just screws into your into your case, and away you go. What else did I buy here? Just some peripherals. I went and bought a Corsair glaive, and I really like this mouse because I have really big hands. I get a lot of cramping from using these tiny little mouses you find everywhere. And I wanted a good quality keyboard. I like mechanical keyboards because they remind me of the old Apples. Everything was mechanical back when I was in high school. So it's funny that everyone's gone back to mechanical keyboards, which were out when the first Apple computer was made. So yeah, that's down there. That's the Corsair Strafe that I bought, which is the cheaper line. It's still about $150 gaming keyboard. I went with the Cherry MX Brown rather than the red, because it was, like I said, it's not primarily for gaming on my PC. I want to be able to use the keyboard as a keyboard without double tapping, but I really hate the clicky noises, so that's why I went with the brown. I like the textile feel of it, but I don't like the clicky noise, especially if you've got neighbours nearby. Now RAM. I wanted fast RAM, but I didn't want to overkill the RAM. So I went with the Trident Z, down there in that box down there. I'll just bring it up for you so you can have a better look. I went with the Trident Z. Now I don't understand all those fancy numbers on the back, okay, but it's 3000, what does it say? It's a 3000 C160, which is sort of what the middle speed. I know they go up to 4200 something now, but yeah, I went with the 3000. It's one speed bigger than a normal one, which is about 2400. I'm sure Carey will correct me if I'm wrong. Remember, this is my first PC, so I'm still getting into the technical things. I went with the MM300 mouse mat, and I love it. It's a great mat. It's really big. It goes about this long, so you can fit your mouse, your keyboard. Because I don't know if you've like been using a mouse before and you end up off the mouse pad, or the mouse pad moves around and you're always fixing it up or dusting it off. Well, with the big long ones, you don't have to worry about that because the keyboard and the mouse hold it into place and it doesn't move around. It's very smooth and it feels nice to rest your wrist on while using your mouse. And I think I covered all my parts and components. Oh yeah, I bought 2 disk drives because I like making DVDs for my grandkids, and it'd just be handy just to make 2 at a time instead of burning, buffing. I can burn 2 DVDs at the same time now. I also put I put a little USB adapter in, a Bluetooth one, in my desktop. I don't really want to waste a PCI Express slot with a Bluetooth card. I want to keep at least 1 or 2 to spare, you know, don't want to choke up all the laneways. Anyway, I'm still waiting on I'm going to get a graphics card, which is the very last component, thank God. I'm making it to the end where this just plug and play anyway. So once I get that, I've got my heart set on the MSI 1060X 6GB version. In Australia, computer parts are quite expensive compared to America. You might pay like $200 or $300 for it in American dollars, but over here in Australia, it's going to be nearly $500 in Australian dollars. So that's why, like I said, I'm not a rich man, but that's all I did. I just bought one component at a time over the course of like 12 months. I'm not a rich man, but I'm really good at saving money. Okay, without further ado, I'm just going to cut now and I'll take you over to the PC. We'll get mobile. Okay, we're over the PC now. I don't really have a computer chair yet, but that's only a minor issue. This is my PC that I built, thanks to Carey for giving me that confidence once again. Inside, I did buy a couple of red LED fans for the outside, because this one has one at the door too, which is basically to spray onto the graphics card when I get it. And you're probably not going to be able to see, but there's actually the Wi-Fi card there at the bottom. The lightning bolt, that's the shield on the Z270 board. There's the RAM, there's the heat sink, here's the front of the case. I really like the aggressive texture of the half-X. It has lots of little features like fan, you can turn the LED off and on the fan, reset button. It has 2 USB 3s, or 3.1s, whatever they're called. There's 2 2.0 USBs. It has Firewire and all that, but I'm never going to use that. So when I get more hard drives, I'm gonna unplug that and use the SATA Express for something else. It actually has like ejectable hard drive drawers. I'll just show you this, and if you look in there, they're just like, you screw them on and you just push it in and it clicks in and plugs your hard drives in. So you don't always have to open the case up to put a new hard drive. If you see that little silver thing, that's my SSD. It's Windows is loaded onto that. That's by Crucible. The hard drive that I've got in it's down the bottom. There's my 2 disk drives. I got 2 different brands only because one wasn't available. They only had one installed, so that's why I did that. And there's my SD card reader. Basically does them all. And it's even got another USB 3 in there. That thing only costs like $20. That's actually the card reader there, and that's actually the adapter plate that I bought for $4 on eBay. I'm not going to open up the case because basically everyone's seen inside a computer case before. I did okay with the cable management. I haven't really finished it, but that's because I'm going to open up, put the graphics card in, and then I'll fix it up really nice. Here's the monitor, and I love this monitor. This monitor is really awesome. It's not only running at 60 megahertz right now because you need the graphics card to run it at 144 megahertz. So yeah, I'm looking at antennas there on eBay, and that's what I love about it. It can actually play games with the i7 Kaby Lake processor, just that they're a bit jittery because of the frame rates. Some of my apps, these apps here are for my drones that I build. There's Heaven Benchmark. I was just testing it out. Right now it only gets to about 15 to 18 frames per second because, like I said, it's not really meant to run hardcore gaming just yet. The Corsair utility engine, that's for my mouse and that's for my keyboard, and you can do all your adjustments here, which I really like the Corsair one app. Yeah. Anyway, you've seen my computer. That's what I run my sound. I don't have a plug-in speaker system. I just turn that on. It's a Bluetooth speaker, and it hooks up to my Bluetooth adapter, and I get stereo sound. There's the mouse pad. Right now the computer holds it down. It holds it down well. I put the computer on little soft pads so it doesn't rock. And yeah, anyway, the monitor goes all the way up and down. It does 360 turns, and yeah, so it's pretty awesome. I love it. Anyway, time to head off. Thanks, Carey. I can't say thank you enough for helping me build my PC, and we'll see you on your channel.